And we are back. Sorry about that, you guys. We only have 40 minutes for our recordings, and today we had about 10 minutes of trouble getting started, so that messed up our recording. But anyways, I'm going to share something really funny here. So as Dan was talking about don't interrupt people, I was like, I need to interrupt her to tell her the recording is about to stop because it only counts down on my computer. And so I was thinking, you guys, there are like in-depth people skills of polite ways to do things because we don't want to interrupt people, but sometimes we have to. Sometimes you're at a party and they're like trying to take over and they've been talking for 20 minutes. And so I was thinking of all the polite ways I know, people skills, to interrupt somebody. And so I thought I'd just share those really fast for extra bonus here since this happened. One way is to come up and put your arm on someone's shoulder. Like at your party, if someone is just to walk over and just put your arm on their shoulder and stand there by them. So acknowledges that like, hey, I'm listening, but like we need to politely move on. Another way you can do it is to lean into what somebody's saying and listen for a second and nod and then lean back. It invites the conversation back to you if you needed to. And my favorite way is the way that Danielle chooses to interrupt people when they interrupt her parties and they keep talking too much. She just starts going like this, and they say, what are you looking for? And she says, my party. So that's my favorite way to interrupt people, but none of those situations could happen here politely. So sorry, Dan, for interrupting you. And we'll let you go back to your story to wrap us up.
Okay. So that's pretty great, Danielle. I might have to use that one. That's awesome. Okay. So I was telling you the story about the smoothie girls. And so there was this group of people and anyway, the story goes that there's a smoothie girl on each side of the store. I'm envisioning like a Sam's, right? And so there's one smoothie girl and she's got it like down pat. Like the girl knows her stuff about how to make smoothies and sell blenders and like it's all like amazing, right? And so she does her presentation like over and over and over and over all day. And she, is like perfect to the T every single time. And on the other side of the store, there is a girl and she knows her stuff, but she's just like fun loving and like adds humor in it and like accidentally spills a smoothie and like is cracking jokes and laughing at people and, really enjoying it. And, the moral of the story is the smoothie girl who didn't have it all together, who didn't say it perfectly, who spilled the smoothie, that's a hard sentence to say, actually sold more smoothies and blenders than the girl who had it all put together because she was real and she interacted and she was fun-loving. And so she talked about just some humor that you can add to your like scripts sometimes for people in conversations that maybe naturally would feel a little bit uncomfortable. She said it's always good to lighten up a little bit. You totally don't have to be like a stand-up comedian because that's not what we're getting at, but just be fun-loving. She said, for somebody who maybe you don't know, or maybe it's been a long time since you talked to them, you could call or text and be like, hey, so random call of the day, da-da-da-da, or random text of the day, da-da-da-da, which is kind of livens it up better than, I haven't talked to you in 6 months, sorry. Or customer follow-up, somebody you haven't talked to in a while. Hey, blast from the past, you're MK girl. How are you doing? Someone you don't know, when you call or talk to them, you could say, hey Reba, it's Deanne. You don't know me from Adam, but we have a mutual friend named Sarah. Just kind of cute little quirks. Or she talked about how sometimes you just gotta lighten the mood. Like if you had, not that it happens very often, but if you come across somebody who maybe's had a bad Mary Kay experience, she said it's great to just like get it out in the open and like kind of try to be like, fun loving about it. So her example was she had called this customer and she was trying to book her and she was telling her, I had this really bad experience. And she said, oh no, I'm so sorry you had that. Tell me what happened. And so the girl goes on and she's talking about how she had a party and the Mary Kate girl came over and then the Mary Kate girl left and they all looked in the mirror and they had like way more makeup on than they wanted. And Julie was like, oh, the clown look didn't work for you and your friends? I'm so sorry. And so they laughed and giggled, and then they built their relationship from there because she was understanding that that's not what they wanted, and just made a little light humor that nobody's perfect and we won't make you look like clowns, I promise. And so I thought that one was really great. She talked about how, if y'all remember, Leah Carta always teaches us to take a picture with our referrals. And she says, she makes a joke out of it. Like, I'm sending you a picture with me and your friends, so I'm not a robot. And she's like, how cute is that? Like, that's going to make people laugh and smile. And, that is our goal here, is to just be somebody that people want to talk to. And she said, talked about, well, before I get to that last point, I was going to tell you a personal story because I think those are always fun. So when I first moved to Amarillo, I was having, I was trying to meet new people. So I asked some people in Clovis that I knew who knew people in Amarillo because it's kind of close enough. So I get to this lady's house, and she's like a doctor's wife and has this like fancy, beautiful home. And I was like, have you ever used Mary Kay before? And she was like, yeah, I used to use a skincare set, but I always had to meet her in town, and it kind of got inconvenient, and so I just quit using her. And I said, oh, okay, well then I'll make for sure and deliver your products every time I come. And she's like, no, you don't have to do that. And I said, well, that didn't really work out so well for the last girl, so I will totally deliver your products every single time. And she was like, she laughed and laughed and laughed. Y'all, she has been one of my very best customers in Amarillo for 3 years, has come to every single open house I've ever had. I have never delivered product back to her house. She always meets me in town. And so it's not that I wouldn't mind, but I was just like super real. I was like, oh yeah, I don't want to do that. And so love her. But the last thing is, to make for sure you show gratitude. And so when people come to appointments, people come to parties, customers buy product and help you get to the next star level or whatever, that you thank them for that, because people want to be a part and they want to know that they're valued in your business and that they are helping you get to the next goal. And so I was working on getting to the next star level because I wanted a Christmas tree. And so I was talking to some of my customers about it, and I was like, I just want this new Christmas tree because I'm having a baby and it'll be our first Christmas, and I don't have a pretty tree and I only have till this day to finish it. And they're like, how much product can we buy? And I totally didn't mean that way. I just was letting them know and thanking them for helping me get closer to my Christmas tree and what it meant to me. And so people want to be involved because they felt valued. So that's what I had to share today. I'm going to pass it back over to Reba. Thanks, girls.
Deanne, that was so good. I loved everything you shared. You guys, I feel like I'm learning people skills right now. The teachers always learn the most. I'm learning so much here. Deanne said something about humor there at the very end about you don't have to be a stand-up comedian. And for me and my sister, both our personality, but we're not super just like out there funny. And so I have just picked up little jokes. They say, yes, I am. But we're not just like, one to just make up our own joke, crack it up. But anyways, I've picked up jokes from people in Mary Kay and just have like stashed them away. And those are my way to lighten the mood. You know what I'm saying? So you guys have probably heard me say when I get to the end, you're under no obligation to buy anything today. But if you want something, I will absolutely work with you, whether it's cash, card, check, or the creative husband plan, where you do a little cash, little check, little card. It's harder to track that way. And I've said it 1,000 times, But those are like my little jokes that I picked up on. So pick up on some from your director, throw them in your parties. But what was funny is one time Jessica Chitwood, she's been a part of our unit for a long time, was hearing my sister do something, and she was like, she has the same corny jokes you do. And so you don't have to be a stand-up comedian. Just pick up a few and use them a lot. Because that's what me and Callie do. Okay, so here's what I want to share with you guys in wrapping this up. 2 more people skills, and then we're going to wrap it up. One is giving people sincere, genuine compliments. Deanne has talked about this, making people feel valued. Danielle has talked about this. It's all about making people feel valued. Mary Kay said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so we have to show people that we care about them by our actions, by the things we say. Like Danielle says, so much of it is nonverbal. You know, a lot of these things you're talking about is nonverbal. And so a sincere compliment. And you guys, it has to be sincere. You can't just like spout off some random compliment that is not truthful. It has to be sincere. So out of these videos that we took a lot of this training from, one thing she said is when you walk into someone's home, look around and find something you can sincerely compliment them that you love about their house. I remember going to do a double facial a couple weeks ago, and I walked in and it was decorated so like fun-loving and cute, and I complimented her. And you guys, that woman had a hard time walking. She walked me through her entire house because she was so excited that I complimented her home and her decor. She wanted me to see every inch of it. And she's become an amazing customer. She just placed her 3rd order with me in 2 weeks yesterday. 3rd order, 2 weeks. And so sincere compliment. So look for something in their home that you can compliment them on. Something about their appearance you can compliment them on. Anything like that, okay? Just find something you can sincerely compliment people on. That has to go with hostesses, when you show up for an interview, when you show up to a party, a facial, just at meeting people around you, making more friends there. Or if you're like talking to someone you don't know that well, a stranger, like to build a relationship, sincerely compliment people. The other thing is open loops in your dialogue. This is a little bit more practical tip for your business. But have you ever been talking to someone or like listening to a presentation or a TV show? They do it all the time. And they say, we'll cover that next time. I'm not going to get into that today. And you're like, but I want to know. Like you want to know. And so when you call somebody, creating that open loop so they want to know what you have to say. And so Julia says, she suggested for when you're calling people, say, hey, Danielle, it's Reba. Hey, I'm calling for 2 reasons. So you start talking about the first, but yet they're curious to keep listening to get to the second one. So, hey, just very quick opening. Hey, it's Reba, just calling for 2 reasons. Okay. Another thing she suggested, which I learned this today and I thought it was great. I think sometimes we feel like when we're calling somebody, we have to start with the relationship stuff and then get to the business stuff. We need to ask about their kids and their grandma and the wedding and all that before we feel like we can ask about business stuff. And I think sometimes that feels a little faker, and she said that too, because it's like you're building them up, like you're buttering them up to ask them to do a party. She says it's better to start with the business part and then end with the personal relationship. And I love doing that. So when I call somebody, so they know exactly what you're talking about. And I think, so it's like, hey, I'm calling with my business hat on first and then my friend hat, you know? And so, hey, it's Reba, just calling for 2 quick reasons. Do you have a quick minute? She always says that. Do you have a quick minute before she just dives into her 2 reasons? You do want to be respectful, let them feel valued about that. But you would say, hey, you know, I am doing this thing in my business. I need to borrow your face or whatever. And then after you book it, say, now I want to talk to you. Second thing was, tell me about your life. What's going on? It just feels more real that way. Okay. So here's what I'm going to share with you guys. As a wrap up, and then we're going to go into, actually, I'm going to go over your voucher for this week and then wrap it up, okay? Because I want to end on this note. So your voucher for this week, make sure you take a second look at it. It's going to be posted here. The Steady Habit points are exactly the same, so I'm not going over these again. You guys should have these down by now. The last points, your surprise and delight points, are due next Wednesday. One is if you've moved into a new career path level. So if you became a new senior consultant or a new star team builder, and then there's points if you are a new future director or DIQ, or if you've been DIQ before, just getting into DIQ counts. If you completed the Freedom Area Pin this month, if you've never done that before, you can do it again even if you have done it. It's 30 faces, 6 interviews, 600 wholesale, 600 retail. Your director can help you track that. Also points if you went on target for your car this month or met requirements if you were already on target. The next one is points if you got a bronze medal, which is 3 or more recruits. The next one is boxing your sales director with your overall takeaway from this class. What did you learn? Where are you going to pivot in your business? What can she do to support you? Things like that. And yeah. And then you're going to email your director with a 30-day plan, moving forward, keeping these habits going, and answer the questions that are there in the paragraph. You guys can read. I don't need to read to you. And the last one is if you register for Fall Retreat, because that is where we are announcing the top 5 and giving out prizes, and we want you guys to be there celebrating with us. So here's what I'm going to end with today. These people skills. There is, I believe, 3 ways wrapping this up to get better at them. Okay? Number 1, study. 2, model and practice. And 3, accountability. So let's talk through each of these. Number one is study. There's tons of ways you can study people skills. I like listening to podcasts. Some of my favorites are Craig Groeschel's leadership podcast. He talks about a lot of people skills. There are a bajillion out there you can listen to. So listening to podcasts, also books. Julia Burnett is who we took a lot of this from. She's a national sales director. She said that when she became a national, she asked Gloria Mayfield Banks, who's the #1 national in ever, all over the world, hey, what's your #1 book that you recommend me read as a brand new national? And her book was How to Win Friends and Influence People. And that was where a lot of this training came from. And so that would be a great book to start out with, How to Win Friends and Influence People. The book that Deanna and Danielle and I just read with a group study would be great, The Ideal Team Player. There are a bajillion books out there. Look up something on people skills. Just make sure it's someone who's really smart in the area. Those would be great things, okay? So that would be #1 is to study. 2, model and practice. Find somebody who's great at people skills and try to act like them, okay? Not that we want to be fake or phony or not who we are, but to get better at it, we need to copy someone who is good at it. And for some of you who this is not your personality to be super outgoing, or maybe you're a little unconfident, I'm going to ask for you to practice it in baby steps, okay? So if it is just really outside your bubble to give somebody a genuine, sincere compliment, all this stuff feels overwhelming. Start small. So maybe the way you start small is the next time you go to the grocery store, you just start making eye contact with people. So when you walk by somebody, you look them in the eye instead of at the ground. And then the next time you go to the grocery store, maybe you don't just make eye contact, but you smile at people too at the same time. And then maybe the next time you go to the grocery store, you make eye contact, you smile, and you say hi. There's ways to get better at this. And then after you do that, then maybe the next time you go to the checkout girl, you make eye contact, you smile, you say hi, and you give her a compliment. It's not going to happen overnight where all of a sudden you're going to be amazing at people skills. But grab a few of these, practice small, and keep getting better at them. Okay? The third one is accountability. And this is probably going to be the hardest if you're really bad at this area, but you're going to give someone full permission in your life who is good at people skills. If somebody is not good, they don't have a lot of friends, do not give them permission to be your accountability in this. We only take advice from people we want to trade places with. That you would give them permission to hold you accountable. So if you're at a meeting and they hear you say something rude, they have permission to say, hey honey, not today. That's not great. Okay? Or they have permission to say, hey, now would be a good time to compliment her. Hey, that would be somebody you should send a note to. Hey, that you should, you give somebody full permission, okay? So these are 3 ways to get better at people skills. You're going to study them, you're going to model them and practice them, and you're going to let somebody hold you accountable in your life. And it probably needs to be somebody who's around you a lot, like maybe some family, friends, close Mary Kay friend, your director if she's great at people skills, just so that way they can see you, because most of the time we're bad at this in our normal everyday relationships. So I hope you guys learned something about people skills. Can't wait to see you rock out the end of Pacesetters, and we will see you guys in person at the bonfire fall retreat. Bye.